What up, Mike?
What's going on, Rory?
Have a nice little off day in St. Louis today. What are you up to?
Just looking forward to talking to you about this killer new album and digging into that a little bit and talking about the upcoming tour and everything. But dude, let's get into the album to kick things off. Creature in the Black Night coming out on October the 24th. Perfect time Halloween season to put this one out, I think.
Yeah, we actually did discuss like dropping it on Halloween maybe, but we kind of realized like there might be a lot of people out at parties and gatherings, and like I think the best thing you want when you drop an album is hopefully people are just like home on a Thursday night, like chilling out and kind of taking it easy. So we did the safer option. We went a week earlier. So, but yeah, very, very excited.
And I love kind of the darker theme to this one. I know last album, Dark Sun, we had talked when that one came out, and it's certainly a much more personal and introspective album, with everything going on. And it seems like on this one, you've kind of on the last one you learned how to open up your wounds, and on this one you kind of can go in and retap those emotions when you need to.
Yeah, I think Dark Sun was quite a bit more like literal and very like face value with the songwriting. And I think a lot of the songs on this record, they are very deep and they are very personal to me about things I've experienced in the last couple of years. But it was kind of interesting, like masking them a little bit with like a metaphor and like death or cemeteries, like zombie. We kind of leaned into that like sort of like horror theme for the record. But yeah, it's all still very emotional and rooted in a lot of like a lot of tough things that I've dealt with over the last couple of years. But I think it was interesting trying to not just be like this is about my dad passing away and this is about a breakup. It's like I think there's still a lot of things in there that people can relate to, but I think it is a little more like shrouded in mystery kind of because of the way we approach songwriting.
Well, I knew we were off to a good start after the first single, man, Pale Moonlight. And be honest with me, man. I don't know about for you, but when I saw the title before even press and play on the tune, I thought of course, Jack Nicholson and the Joker from the original Batman, right? That was running through your head too?
No, it wasn't.
Ah!
No, it's funny. I know people were like, look, it's the mask he's wearing is like Bane. It's totally about Batman. I was like, it's really not. It's not about Batman at all. No, I think I have a side project called Hurt Wave, and we wrote this song called Bleach. And in the song there's a lyric that says dancing in the pale moonlight. And it was kind of this cool like metaphor that I had discovered where basically it's like you could be like dancing on the edge of a building and it's like a really dim lit night, like the moonlight's like really pale. It's not very bright, and it's like you're basically dancing on the line of like falling off the building and dying, or catching yourself on the other side and you're okay. And so I just kind of have always kind of like that metaphor, and I think what the song was about. And then throwing like the devil into the mix of it, it was kind of like felt more like sinister and kind of evil sounding. But no, it doesn't have anything to do with Batman, although I love that movie. I understand why people would think that for sure.
I mean, that's the first, I just pictured Jack Nicholson in my head. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? And I, immediately popped in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
And along with that song and really the whole album, I love your singing and also some screaming included, and certainly a lot of keys and synth and that kind of stuff. Is that something you write, or one of the other guys in the band, or the producer?
It's usually a lot of the songwriting is usually me and our producer Dan Bronstein. And it kind of just depends. I've gotten a lot more into piano recently, so I did write a lot of like the actual like main melody and piano in the songs. Like I did write, but our producer Dan is great at kind of bringing out these more like 80s pulse bass like synthesizers, and
Yeah.
we'll usually create a layer of like three or four different synth sounds just to have like as like background ambience before we even start like working on the song because it just kind of like sets a vibe when you're trying to write everything together in the studio. But it's a pretty split even thing with me and our producer usually for instrumentation. But he's a great guy to work with. He definitely brings out the special sauce in our band, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love that little ear candy stuff in there because it certainly helps create the mood, especially with this album. And the album does sound amazing sonically, and like you said, props to Daniel for that one.
Yeah, well, Dan was our producer, and he did some light mixing on it, but we actually had this guy Zach Servini was like the final mix and master guy, and yeah, he's the best right now. Like he does everybody, and it's funny because I'll see comments, people being like, "I'm so tired of Zach," but I'm like, yeah, but he's like the best. He's the best rock metal producer out there. Like, what do you want us to do? But yeah, I'm very proud of the record. Really excited for people to hear it. Yeah.
You should be, man. I mean, it's great the whole way through. Bloodlust, probably my favorite tune, but even Forgotten Ghost at the end of the album, like the whole album's sick.
Dude, thanks, man. Yeah, I think Bloodlust is our next single, and that was kind of it was a good problem to have. It felt like we finished the record and we were like, I think there's like 7 or 8 singles on here that could do it. And we were we had a lot of back and forth on like which because you get to highlight like 4 or 5. And so but yeah, I think Bloodlust is one of them. It's just like a cool kind of Chevelle sort of riff in the intro, and then
Yeah.
it's like it's a little like heavier and darker for our band, but yeah, I think they're all very cool in their own. I'm biased because I'm in the band, but I think they're all cool in their own way for sure.
Well, the question then is how many of these new songs are you going to be working into the set? I mean, we got you coming through SoCal, back through home, going to be at the Hollywood Palladium on October the 1st with In This Moment, which is a hell of a lineup. You guys and Funeral Portrait and Dead. That's going to be an amazing lineup. But are you going to be sneaking in three, four of these new ones into that set?
We definitely, I think we play Pale Moonlight and Creature in the Black Knight right now, and then we've been it's just funny. We usually get time to like rehearse at home, and we had to jump right into tour a few weeks ago, and then Shapeshift came out, so we've been like rehearsing Shapeshift at sound checks, trying to get it ready, but it's just easier when you're at home because it'll be like, okay, we're gonna play it like 90 times, and then it'll be like ready to be in front of an audience, and it's like you get like a half hour at sound check, and so you're like, we usually only get to play it like once a day if we're lucky. But yeah, we're definitely doing. I think by the time we do the Palladium in LA, we should be playing Shapeshift live as well. But yeah, it's it gets tough. Even sometimes playing like when we started playing Pale Moonlight live, it was very, I think it was like a week after it came out. And you can kind of tell that like there are people in the audience who know it, but like it's almost like the crowd reaction is better the longer you let a song sit out for a little bit because like more people have time to learn it. So we're probably just gonna stick to those three. But then I mean we have like a Europe tour in like February of next year with Motionless in White, and that'll be like 3 months past the record being out. So we'll probably have like more time to push more new stuff in. But it's I'm not gonna lie, it gets hard because our last record, Dark Sun, and the record before that, Sleep Talk, all did pretty well commercially and in our fan base. And so it's especially when you're supporting and you only get like 9 or 10 songs to pick, you really start getting down to the nitty-gritty of like what are like the most fun songs to play live. Like what does it seem like the crowd wants to hear the most? But it does feel like though when you have a new record out, it's like most of the songs we're playing should probably be a lot of the new record because we haven't played those yet. But yeah, the Palladium will be a good time though. It'll be a good mix of old and new in our set.
Yeah, I mean that's the tough call is mixing that up, especially in the support role. Like you want to hype up the crowd and do your job as an opener, but also work in the new stuff. But uh, really excited to see you along with Maria because she really brings so much production and theatrics to the show, and I almost kind of feel like with this new album, that's kind of the next thing for your band.
Yeah, it probably is. I know what you mean too. I saw In This Moment a few years ago at the Wiltern in Los Angeles, and I was just like, yeah, I watched for like 40 minutes, and I was like, man, she's had like 7 costume changes or something. It's crazy. But yeah, it's funny. We've talked about like because I think like Dark Sun and our older records were more like maybe like synthwave leaning, and so I feel like we leaned into like cyberpunk visuals and a lot of like neon lighting and stuff. And it's actually funny, we were in the middle of a tour and we had a day off in Vegas and they had this like horror. It was kind of like an Universal Horror Nights thing where you
Sure.
walk through some horror mazes, and we were in something for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but they have you standing in this line, but in the line you get kind of halfway into the building, and then it was like really dark with a lot of fog and it kind of eerie leaning. And we were like, there's a few songs that kind of touch on like cemeteries and like it's written from the like like from the perspective of somebody who's dead or like a zombie, like things like that. And we were like, man, what if we just like made the stage like a really eerie like cemetery with like cool lighting and just kind of leaned into like the horror theme for the record for like live production. So that's obviously like more something you do when you headline. But I know we have plans to headline in like the spring and the fall of next year in the States. So that'll probably be when we take like a bigger swing and doing some cooler production. And we had great production the last time we headlined the States with like a big video wall, but it might be cool, yeah, to get more into like real like tangible sets on stage to just like kind of I don't know, like go up the next level. I feel like we're
Yeah.
always trying to like yeah, I feel like we want our production value to like increase the longer we're a band.
Yeah, I feel like especially with this new album, you can really lean into all that stuff and it's going to be amazing. Last time I saw you, I think was the House of Blues Anaheim headliner. Was it last December already now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, which was an amazing show and sold out and your friends on the Bill Silent Planet. I know you guys are like tight with them. Is there like beyond friendship like a management or business end with you guys and them?
Yeah, I've known their singer Garrett for probably like 11 or 12 years now. It's funny, I saw them play this really, no disrespect, but I mean, it's a horrible dive bar in Santa Ana. It was called Malone's
Oh yeah, yeah,
back in
yeah.
the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just the spot to play when you
Called
were in
stages nowadays.
yeah, yeah. When you were like an up and coming local band. And yeah, I saw Planet play there. It was like a different lineup now. And I just they were cool. I thought they had sort of like explosions in the sky, but it meets like Oh Sleeper metal sort of vibe. And yeah, I just said what's up to him after, and I just said like I thought you guys were great. And then he had heard about Dayseeker, and he like offered to buy me in and out, and he was kind of so painfully nice that I was sort of like, what do you want here? Like what and it's sad that that's like a natural reaction. But then yeah, I got food with him and I was like, oh, you're actually just like literally the nicest guy in the world. So Garrett's actually he's actually my daughter's godfather.
Wow.
And he's yeah, we have two managers, and he's one of our managers. So he's a little more like I think he's more rooted in like the merchandise side of our band, but it's kind of nice. It feels like our other manager is sort of a hard ass, and then Garrett's kind of like it's kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. And then I feel like I take away when I need to be not so nice from one manager and when I need to be more gracious from Garrett. But yeah, we love Planet though too. Like I think they're a great band, and we're really close to them as people. They're good guys for sure.
Yeah, I mean that Super Bloom album they put out was phenomenal. I saw you
Yeah.
at that show at that tour too, the one they did with Invent Animate at the observatory.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
And then
They're
playing that
they're
album in its entirety. Oh, so cool.
yeah, they're a really good band. I've heard some of their new stuff and it's really cool. I'm excited for them.
Me too. Me too. I'm glad to hear that they're already working on new stuff. Interestingly enough, speaking of House of Blues, Anaheim, and then that show at the Observatory, I'm kind of curious, man. And it's funny. You're gonna laugh at this even before I finish saying it. And I've even talked to your publicist about it, and they laughed at me too. For whatever reason, I always see you at all these shows, whether it's House of Blues at Anaheim, just saw you there at Architects hanging out. But for whatever reason, I've interviewed you a couple times. I'm petrified to say hi.
No, dude, come say hi anytime. Like it's like it's like hometown venues, and I know a lot of those bands are rooted in the same scene, so it would honestly probably be like a breath of fresh air than, like it's most times like when it's no disrespect, but yeah, it's just I most times when people come up to say hi, they're usually like, my dad's dead too, and I'm like, that's
Uh,
great. I'm really it's just like it literally happened last night. I was walking to the bus like with like some stuff from our green room, and this guy was getting his car and he's just like Rory, and then he like ran over literally to be like it's never just like that, but he was just like, yeah, music means a lot, because my dad died of cancer too, and I'm like, yeah, I know how that goes. I'm sorry to hear that. Like, thanks for sharing that. But it's just and it is cool that they want to be so open, but sometimes it is.
uh-oh, something clicked off. I can't hear you now all of a sudden. It was on there a second ago, and then there we go.
Oh,
There we go.
got it. Sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, it's just yeah, sometimes it's just the conversations I have in passing at a local venue are really heavy. So if you were to come up and say hi and we know each other professionally, like I said, it's way more like I'm way more open to like a lighthearted conversation at like a local venue than like like talking about parents dying from cancer. So no, dude, I know it's funny because you said you saw me at all these things, and I was like, oh man, I was like, I don't think we said hi, but like, yeah, you can, dude, if you see me, just come say what's up.
All right.
Absolutely,
So now I'm gonna do it. Now that you've said, like, I'm gonna come say hi.
please,
And
dude, yeah.
I'm curious, is there anyone for you like that? Is there any peer that you like see backstage at a festival or something, and you're just like, God, I wish I could say hi to that guy, but I'm just the fanboy in me is a little petrified too.
Yeah, most times we like because I think I've been on the side of it where people like they don't understand boundaries, and like I understand they're excited to meet us, but they just come on way too strong. And our bass player Ramon is really good at it because a few years ago we started touring with bands where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe we're out with like the Devil Wears Prada or like
Silverstein.
Silverstein, yeah, Silverstein. Like so it's funny when you start going on to like Pierce the Veil is a good example. It's just they're kind of like because we've done okay, but I don't think we're not like these bands like Pierce where it's like it feels like they're kind of like larger than life sort of rock bands. And you also just like don't know. Thankfully, most people in rock are super nice, but you also just don't know like I've definitely gone up to bands sometimes and been like, hey, just want to say like I'm a big fan. I appreciate what you guys do, and I'm like excited to see you tonight. And it feels like they're just like, thanks. They're kind of like they don't care, and they're kind of like leave me alone. You're kind of like, cool, see you later. But it's no, thankfully most people are really really nice. I think I'd only really I'm a big Dallas Green fan from Alexis on Fire, City and Color. It's like popular Canadian artist, and I've been listening to him since I was like 14 years old. So I feel like he's probably one of the only people I might see in public and be like, oh God, I don't. And sometimes too, I look at it like maybe the nicest thing I can do for this guy as a musician who's been touring for 20 years is like leave him alone and just like like love this person and respect this person like from a distance. But that's also like if somebody went out of their way to like introduce us, I would say hi for sure. But I know what you mean, but like dude, we're not that popular. You can say hi. You can say hi to me if you ever see me out in public for sure.
I definitely will, man. And I appreciate all the time. Last thing I wanted to hit you with, we had talked before, like I said, we're an old school radio station out in the Inland Empire. We do mandatory Metallica. I know you're not the biggest Metallica fan. I know we last time we talked about their movie, Some Kind of Monster. Just kind of curious if any more Metallica has entered your world in the past couple of years.
Not really. Like I said, that documentary I think is really cool, and really interesting to watch. I think they're one of those metal bands you had to get into when you were a kid because I think like our producer Dan is a big Metallica fan, but I think it's like he got into metal, when he was like 12, and I for sure think like if somebody would have forced me to listen to them at that age, I think I would have been very into it and it would have been very cool. Not really much other than like I know Ice Nine Kills has toured with
Yeah.
Metallica a ton and they have really good things to say about them and like I have like so much respect for them as like a metal band and being like the biggest metal band in the world. But it's just honestly it's also like I have a 4-year-old. I rarely put on metal in the car in front of her. We're usually listening to like the Coco soundtrack or like it's like or if I am I'm playing like slow pop for her like I'm not
Right.
like yeah here listen to this breakdown
Check out the
but
double bass.
yeah no yeah I have a lot of respect for Metallica. It's just like not something I put on when I'm like driving my kid around.
Totally, totally get that. But yeah, like you said though, appreciate the well that they've done, and like you said, lending a hand down to Ice Nine Kills, bringing them up and on tour with them and everything. That's really cool to see them doing after all these years, where they don't have to. I mean, they could go out with just name openers or nobody, even if they wanted to. But it's cool
Yeah,
that they've always, all throughout their career, they've always done that.
absolutely, yeah.
Toss a song out for me to play. Is there any Metallica song that comes to mind?
Saint Anger, I
In
think.
Anger.
Yeah, I'm down with
Do,
that one. Mhm.
do the trash can snare.
There you go.
Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for the time and the killer album. And can't wait to see you at the Palladium.
Hell yeah. Yeah, say hi if you see me, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll bump into you at House of Blues and I'm going to make sure I say hi to you next time.
All right. I'll see you,
Safe,
Mike.
safe
Yeah.
travels, man. Bye bye.